go. So when we work with the lymphatic system, there's a few things to remember. I know many of you have done some lymphatic classes with me before, but lymph is part of our immune system. You know, it's not the entirety of our immune system, and it also has other functions in the body as well, such as keeping our fluid regulation in place. But one of the things that the immune system likes is to stay warm. So if you tend to, err on the side of less layers versus more layers, maybe, add a scarf, add a something to your day when you're starting to feel like, oh, I need a little bit of more resiliency. Cold therapy is awesome to do on the regular, like finishing your shower with some cold water or something like that, or taking a walk in brisk air. But when we're trying to work with stimulating the lymphatic system, warmth is a really good thing. And then the next thing that lymph really likes is gentle movements. So much of the lymph lives very surface in our body. We have a lot of lymph kind of right below the surface. So some of the work that we're going to do today is some surface work, but there's also very deep lymph in your body as well. So anything that opens and closes joints of the body, especially in, the deeper pits of the body, like your armpits and your groins and behind your knees, can be very helpful that's where a lot of lymph nodes tend to aggregate. It's a good place to get some both stretching and compression alternating going on to help us with our lymph. So we're going to work in those ways today to help us. All right, so let's start by sitting up straight and tall and just take a moment to ground your body and take stock. How have you been feeling? Have you been energetic, or have you been tired, fatigued? Are you sleeping well or no? Do you have a sense of heaviness or depression, or do you feel light? Do you feel racy and anxious, or do you feel calm? And maybe not even just in this moment, but generally, recently, have you taken the time to observe how you are in the state of your body, in the state of your mind, in the state of your heart? So let's have a moment to just kind of assess ourselves and pay attention to how you feel. And you don't need to, right in this moment, go down a storyline of why or how can I change or any of those things, but rather just take notice of how this moment is. What feels free? What feels bound? What feels present and accounted for? What feels a little lost? Let's start to tune into our breath. Feel into the way the breath feels, not just in your lungs, but even start with the sensation in your nose. So breathe through your nose and see what it feels like to have that sense of slow and steady. Can you feel the passages in your nose and behind your nose, kind of moving down into your sinuses and then down into your trachea, all the way to your lungs? See how far you can follow the pathway of breath in your sensation. See if you can start training the diaphragm, activating the diaphragm here a little bit so that we're getting a sense of slowing our exhales down. So a teeny bit of effort in the controlled contraction of the diaphragm. Okay. Feel the breath move. See, while you feel that long exhale that we're creating, if you can observe the lung spaces. We're going to do just a little bit of movement around our collarbones, which is where all of the lymph from our body drains back into the cardiovascular system. So put your fingers right at your collarbones for a moment, just feel across your collarbones. And dip right below your collarbones and just sense that space. And we're just going to tap there. So take your, the pads of your fingers and just tap all along the bottom of the collarbones. And you can get right to the sternum there too, and just gently tap. Your thymus is there, which is part of your immune system. So you can kind of wake up. And you can tap bilaterally at the same time, or you can do a rhythmic tapping with right, left, right. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more of that kind of tapping through our body in a little bit. But just feel into there now. Now open across your collarbones, stretch them, and then shrink your collarbones and snug them up toward each other. Add the arms in, open up, and then shrink your collarbones, chin toward chest. Open up your arms wide, shrink and tuck it. One more time. All right, now turn this movement into a seated cat-cow. So we're going to round the spine. And open the chest, collarbones broad, chin up and touch your teeth. And then round. All right. Now hopefully you feel a little awake. We're gonna just do a little breath of fire. So this is uncomfortable for a lot of people. And if you're not familiar with this breath and it feels like it's just not right for you, you can just do whatever you want right now, breathing wise. We're just going to do a little bit of stoking of the breath. So you're going to, your inhale is going to come in naturally. So you don't have to worry about the inhale. You want to have a little bit of force on a quick exhale. So it looks a little bit like this. So I'm pumping my diaphragm on the exhale, and then when I release, the inhale just naturally happens. Okay, so you don't have to go super fast like I just was going. You can have a pace that you have control of your diaphragm. So start slowly. You can feel, oh, that's what it feels like to pull everything in and then release. And if you can pick up the pace, I always think of this like the billows, kind of stoking a fire in the fireplace. Just do, a few rounds and then return to a couple of beautiful deep breaths. Maybe take 3 cycles of that if you can. It's important to not overdo this. You don't want to feel lightheaded. You don't want to get to the place where you're feeling lightheaded. And then once you're done, just notice, what did that feed into you? Let's place the hands together at the heart to bow in. Offer an intention, perhaps of gratitude as part of this intention for our health and well-being. Release the hands. And let's come on to our back. All right, so when you start out, as we always do, lie flat on your back. And get a feeling, everything shifts. All your fluids in your body shift when you're lying down versus when you're sitting, or standing up. So let's just get a sense of what that feels like here. Where we have, that capacity to feel a pooling in different places of the body. All right, and then we're going to stretch our limbs all the way out like a star. Wiggle your fingers and toes, squeeze your spine a little bit, feel your glutes engage, find your breath. Feel free to move and wiggle your wrists and your ankles while you're out there. Take a big, beautiful breath. And then bring your knees into your chest and keep your head down. Just rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. So feel free to circle our knees here a little bit. So circling one direction, go 3 or 4 times. And then the other direction, 3 or 4 times. And once you're ready, let's find stillness again, and let's open our knees away from the midline and then bring them back in toward the midline. So just finding that range of motion. What's here? What's available in your hips? And just enjoy that sense of moving. And then stretch your arms straight up over your head, legs lengthening out long. Reach. And let's stretch open the left side of the body and then the right side of the body. Just feeling that climbing action of reaching one side and then the other, letting the hips come offline from each other. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit again. Okay, take a deep breath. As you exhale, pick up your head and squeeze. Squeeze, let all your air stay out for a moment and just squeeze. And then release, open. All right, so put your feet down onto the ground, feet hip width apart, and let's windshield wiper. And you can go wider than your hips with your feet as well. And let's just windshield wiper left and right. And notice already just the subtle simplicity of moving your body a little bit, how it alters the way your mind feels, the way your breath moves, the way your body feels. Sometimes we don't need much to change our perspective. So if you're in a funk or you're feeling low, remember, you can just get on your floor and do a few simple warming up yoga stretches, and it can make a world of difference in your perspective. All right, let's hug the right knee and stretch the left leg long. Move around through your feet. So let's remember that lymph aggregates. We have so many vessels down in our feet, mostly so that we pull the extra fluid from our body back up toward our cardiovascular system. A big portion of our fluid doesn't travel back in the venous system. It travels back in the lymphatic system from our extremities back to those ducts right at our collarbones. And let's change sides, left knee and right leg long on the ground. Move around, wiggle your toes, roll your ankles, invert and evert your feet so you can kind of look left and look right with your feet and enjoy the mobility that you're receiving. Okay. Now we're going to do this just a little bit faster. So we're going to take the right knee in and a squeeze, and then the left knee in and a squeeze. And try to think about opening up the opposite hip as much as you're thinking about compressing the side that you're on. Okay, so feeling nice and slow, you don't have to do this fast. Of course, your core is going to start kicking into gear a little bit, and that's good. Start to stoke that internal fire just a little bit. Make sure you're still breathing. Mostly we're just trying to feel that our knees and our hips are compressing, and then our knees and our hips are straightening. So you can even point your toes with that leg that straightens, flex your toes rather, all the way up toward your face, so the back of your knee can open up a lot. All right, and then release that and stretch your limbs wide again. Open and close your fists. Okay, while you're out there, you can do this quickly or slowly, but just open and close your fists. And then relax, roll around your wrists, stretch out to a big star. Exhale, this time pick up your head, everything comes in. One more time, open up big and wide. Exhale. Draw everything in. Relax your head down. Roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, so let's start moving through some cat-cows. So we're arching and rounding the spine. Taking your time. Feel into the way that your body is able to move here. A big breath. All right, and then after a few rounds of cat-cows, let's start moving the spine in different directions. So feel free to wag your tail and kind of slither like a snake or a fish. Feel free to move around in your shoulders and your neck. Circling your pelvis, anything that feels awakening, enlivening, refreshing in the body. All right. Come to a flat back and then drop back towards child's pose and stretch your arms out in front of you. Find your breath, open the armpit chest, relax your skull, soften here. Walk the hands over to the left. And as you do so, feel the left rib cage open up and stretch. Drop some weight down into the sit bones. Soften your skull. Over to the other side. Lengthen and drop the pelvis down. Soft skull. Relax your head. Breathe. All right, come back up. Find your way onto all fours again. We're going to do some rib cage rolling here. So drop the chest toward the ground, over to the left, up toward the sky, over to the right, and back down. So imagine you're inside a paper towel tube and you're trying to touch your body against the whole inner rim of the tube. Okay, so we really want to spread our ribs out in all the directions they go. And then let's switch directions, go the other way. Enjoy your rib cage mobility. Make sure you're breathing. All right, and back towards child's pose again. Walk the hands forward. And we're going to slide our hips up. We're going to come into puppy pose. So the hands are going to come down onto the ground. Our hips are high over our knees. And drop your forehead and maybe your chest toward the ground. So don't worry if you don't get anywhere close by. You can always put a block under your head as well. Opening up the shoulders, opening up the armpits. Try not to collapse toward the ground. And walk your hands back one more time. Any movement in your spine that feels good. Reach the either arm up. Then go ahead and bring that arm down. Thread the needle. Feel your way into the range of motion that's here. Relax your neck. Take advantage of places to breathe that aren't your usual spots to pay attention to. See if you can flare the back ribs. And then when you're ready, face the ground a little bit more. Drop your hips back towards child's pose. Slide the arm a little bit out of the posture so our chest is facing the ground, but our arm is still underneath you. So just feel into that stretch on the outside of the shoulder girdle. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up. Hand comes down. Second side. Lift the arm, find your breath. Exhale. Slide that arm down, gaze toward the ground, breathing well. A full inhale, complete exhale. Finding your breath. All right, and then drop back towards child's pose. All right, so we're squaring the chest toward the floor. Our arm slides, back through just a little bit. So stretch through the back side of the shoulder. Breathe into the armpit. See what it feels like to have that space. And then relax and lift that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground, find dog pose. Spread out the hands really well. Spread out the palms, root down, pedal your feet. So let's start to bend one knee and open up the back of the other knee. So stretch through that whole leg and switch sides. So don't worry if your heel doesn't come all the way down to the ground, but that's the direction we're moving. Our sit bones are still lifting, and we're just pedaling the feet. Round through the hands. Start to feel the feet open as best as you can. Breathing well. Relax your skull, melt your head, bobble a little bit if you need it. And then find the fullness of dog pose now. Root hands, root toes, rise up. Melt your skull. Full deep breaths. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Bend your knees, let your head bobble a little bit. Feel free to wag your tail, shake your hips, shake your head. And then halfway lift, spine gets longer. Stretch the backs of your legs open, and then melt and bend the knees a little bit more. Bend your from your hips and rise up. All right, so a few somatic grounding exercises that we'll do with our body. First, we're just going to rock into one foot and then rock into the other foot. So just feel your weight. Okay, so we've all practiced yielding, so give your weight, give your weight. Find your breath. And then we're going to start shaking them. Okay, so you can shake, legs only. You can shake your body. Try not to think too much. You can bend over and shake. You can lift one foot up and shake. You can do whatever feels good. So no one's staring at you right now. So be free. Let your body just kind of do whatever it wants to do. Shake things out. Shake your hands. You can even jump a little bit if that feels nice to do. Make sure you're breathing as you're shaking. This is very good for your lymph. It's not just, it's very stress relieving too. Okay, now 2 feet on the ground. If you've been shaking, let's go on one foot. Let's come down 2 feet. We're just going to imagine you can jump off the ground, but I know not everybody likes to jump. So even if you're not leaving the floor, we're bouncing. Okay, so bend your knees, loosen your joints, let your spine receive it. And just do what's comfortable. Not everybody can handle this kind of movement for joints, but just find a place where you can shake and bounce your body that's comfortable for your joints. All right. And relax. Breathe. Feel your inner body, any new kind of zinging that's happening. All right, now take your feet a little bit wider than your hips, and you've all done this with me as well. So we're going to start with very floppy arms. Okay. Everything's nice and gentle. Just letting your arms kind of rock and smack into the body. Breathing well. You can start to get some bigger arm swings if you want. Maybe they're just going out to the sides now and not touching the body. Maybe they're still touching the body. How do you decide? Let everything be very loose in your upper body. A little stable core is never a bad thing, but not enough where it's taking away from the mobility. All right, now let's lift the arms up. You can go slower than this. Faster than this. You can start bending your knees. Make sure you're breathing. All right, and come back. Feet hip width apart, and just notice what you are receiving. And the last thing we're going to do, well, not the last thing we're going to do, but the Next thing in this somatic sequencing of just, coming into the body is some slapping. Okay. So we're just gonna get everywhere you can get. You can do this fast or slow, however you want. Don't forget that you have a back body. Do around your throat, around your neck. Feel free to tap around your collarbones. Feel free to tap around your thymus. Get all around your lungs. And like I said before, you can do left, right, or you can do bilateral tapping, whatever feels good. You can take open fists to the back of your kidneys. Have some good little smacking in the low back and as high up into the low ribs as you can get. You can get onto your armpits. And then move down. You can do this to your belly and your glutes. And go down the outside of your legs, the inside of your legs, fronts, backs. Let's see if you can get the soles of the feet. I'm going to feel good to smack tops and bottoms of your feet all at once if you can balance. Okay. We have a lot of lymph down there. And come back up. Finally, let's finish on our head. Very gentle around your skull. And then finger taps, very gentle on your face. And it's such a simple thing to do if you need a little pick-me-up, if you're feeling disembodied, if you feel sluggish, if you feel like you need your lymph to move. All right. And let's stand in Tadasana and just notice the body. Beautiful breaths. Full and deep. So let's start moving. Inhale, arms come up. Open the chest. Exhale and float forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt and fold back down. Step your right foot forward, left foot back. Come into a lunge. Let's start to move. Remember, we're opening and closing the pits of the body. This is a great example. Our hip and our knee compress when we open up the back of the knee. Chest broad. Make sure you're breathing. Whatever you're doing, the breath is the most important accompaniment to what you are doing. Okay, let's place the back knee down on the ground now. Open up through your chest. Find your breath. Feel the hip flexors of that back leg stretch open. Put your hands on blocks. We're going to go back and forth now. You can go back to what we were just doing if being on your knee is an unhappy place for you, or put a blanket underneath your knee. Okay. But if you're comfortable, stretch the front leg straight, flex your toes toward your face, and then bend your knee and open your chest to open the back hip. Back and forth. You can tuck the chin toward the chest, flex toes toward face. Lift chin, stretch forward. One more time. All right. Lift the back knee up off the ground. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. All right, so open up your lungs. We're going to do just a little bit of range of motion in our chest here. So feel the arms lift up. Cactus open, a big chest. And then press your arms forward. Twice more. And then one more time. Rising up, big breath. Stretch your arms straight out to the sides and press two walls away, fingers to the sky. And then we're going to release our left hand down onto the ground or a block. Inhale, right arm comes up. We're going to do some big rolls through our chest and shoulder, arm up. Do a backstroke vibe. Okay, so we're swinging the hand down, forward, and up. And hand down, back to dog pose. Feel the extension in your spine, breathe well, relax your neck. Stretch open the backs of the knees, stretch open the bottom of the feet, stretch open the bottom of the hands. Come forward into a plank. And remember, you can always put your knees down onto the ground anytime you want. Integrate. So now feel that hearty breath, like when we were doing the breath, the billows breath earlier. See if you can breathe out to the ribs. You don't want to do the billows breath here, but just feel that sense of openness in the side bodies. Put your knees down, find the ground. Okay. Hands down next to your shoulders or down near your chest, and then roll the shoulders a few times. Feel that mobility in the shoulder blades. Turn it into a cobra when you're ready. Chest open. Exhale. And down. Twice more. Shoulders back. Release to come down. Strong legs. Engage your core. And then find the ground. Okay. Come up onto all fours. Move the spine about. Back to child's pose. Settle your hips. Relax your breath. We're going to come up on two shins, arms up to the sky, and then exhale. Arms down at your sides, knees and hips compressed. Inhale, open your armpits, stretch open the hips. Exhale, arms down at your side. One more time. Opening things up. And then on your exhale, closing things up. When you're ready, bring your hands forward, bring your left foot forward. Come onto your knee. We're going to go a little backwards through it. So start with your knee down instead of our knee up. Open your chest. Find your breath. All right, now I like my hands on blocks for this for sure because it helps me keep my spine long. I'm going to flex your toes, tuck your chin. Inhale, come back to an open chest. Exhale, drop your hips back, toes come up, chin tucks. Drop that hip down. Forward again. Last time. Settle back into that straight leg. Hip comes down. Come into your lunge. Hands on blocks. Lift your back knee up off the floor. Stretch your back calf. Lengthen through your spine. Let's start to move here. Move with breath. Straightening the front leg. Bending the front knee. So much just opening and closing through those pits of the body. The knee, the hip, the armpit. All right, let's find our way into a lunge. Steady yourself and rise up. Arms come to the sky. Full breaths here. Open things up. And then when you're ready, we'll start to move through these cactus. Take a deep breath. Cactus arms. Exhale. Press the arms forward. Torso comes down. Inhale, rise up. Big cactus arms. Exhale forward. One more time. Arms come up. Rising up. Let's go ahead and place the hand down onto the ground when you're ready, or a block. And we're going to do some swinging twists here. So remember, we're moving like backstroke, not freestyle. So the arm comes up, back around, and then swooping down. Open up through your armpit, twist the spine. Exhale, down you go. All right, hands down, back to dog pose. Walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana when you're ready. A halfway lift. Melt back down. Stretch the backs of the knees. Melt your head. Rising up when you're ready. All right, so we're going to bring our hands straight out to the sides. Palms facing the walls, fingertips up. Drop the shoulders. Lift one ear. And then lift the other ear. And then one ear. And then the other. Release the hands. Give them a good shake. Okay, we're going to collapse our shoulders toward each other. Chin and chest is collapsed inward. And open up. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Hug them on the back. And then round them in. Chin to chest. Snug up your collarbones. Open. Spread your collarbones. And then round one more time. And then inhale, open up. Now take your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Stretch your hands all the way down to the ground or toward the ground. Let the elbow pits open up. See if you can lift your chin. Tuck your chin. Don't tuck. Touch your teeth as you lift your chin, and imagine you have a towel roll behind your neck so that you're not just compressing the back of your neck, lifting. And then relax your head, bend your knees, and stretch your arms overhead. Bobble your head, let it go, relax. Bend your knees as much as you need. And then soften and release your arms. Grab onto the elbows, give them a little tug so there's a stretch through the side bodies. Relax your neck. Inhale for a halfway lift, back of the legs open. Exhale and melt. Grab a block if you like to sit on a block. We're going to come into a deep squat. So if you're okay being without a block, you can do without a block. If you want to sit on a block, that can help you get your chest more open. So do either one, whichever feels good. I'm going to sit on a block today. And just feel into the compression of the hips, the compression of the knees. Breathing well. We're going to do some active squats in a moment, so just let your body get used to being in deep flexion. And then we're going to stand all the way up, arms coming to the sky, and then relax. Now, you don't have to go, especially, if you have knee or hip issues that are happening for you, you don't have to go all the way down. We're going to do 5 of them. So we're going to come down into a squat and up. You just go as low as your body can. You can turn your feet out a little bit. One more. Arms up. All right, so make sure you're turned sideways on the mat. Stretch your legs wide. We're going to fold from the hips, or from the hips, and we're going to take our hands on blocks or on the ground, whichever feels nice to you. So Pasrita, but we're going to stretch our heart forward. So even if your hands are on the blocks, welcome maybe even toward like dog pose arms. So you have this spaciousness in your armpits, whether your hands are on blocks or on the ground. Bring them forward. Open up the backs of the knees. Feel the compression in the hips. Tip the bowl of your pelvic soup forward, a long spine. All right, walk the hands back, heel toe your feet. And we're going to do some moving chair poses now. So just like the squats we just did a moment ago, you don't have to go, super deep, just go where you're comfortable and go as slow as your body. When we go down and up, sometimes it can be very disturbing to our equilibrium. So if you aren't comfortable Don't go as deep or don't go as high. Okay, so we're going to exhale, swing arms back. Inhale up onto your tippy toes. You'll get the hang of it. The first one's always the hardest balance-wise. Pause here for a moment, and then to a chair. Find your breath. That's the sequence. Inhale. Exhale. Arms back. Deep breath in. Up onto the toes. Exhale to a chair. Take a breath in, chair. And so another inhale. Exhale. Arms down, lower your body. Inhale, up onto your toes. Exhale, chair. You can do whatever you want with your arms. A breath here. One last time. Arms up. Exhale. Arms back. Inhale up onto your toes. Exhale, chair pose. While we're here, we're going to twist. Take a deep breath, arms up. Exhale to the left. Inhale back up. Exhale to the right. One more time each side. If your shoulder bothers you with that back arm, turn your thumb down instead of up. All right, last time up onto your toes, and then heels down. We're going to pump our calves a little bit, so just simple heel raises. So you can bring your arms out or down, however you want to be. We're going to come up onto our toes as comfortably as we can, and then back down. The thing that moves lymph in your body, because there's no heart to pump lymph around, is your muscle contractions, your joint openings and closings. Okay, so these are the things that massage and move lymph through your body. So because we have a lot of it in our lower legs, sometimes these calf raises, something very simple, can help you move some lymph. All right, now shake out your leg. Inhale, arms up, big breath. Exhale, swan dive forward, relax your head. A halfway lift, hands on blocks, open your body up. Exhale and melt again. Take your non-dominant foot back, the one you never take back first. Take that back first, dog pose. Feel how open your ribs are, your armpits, relax your neck. Okay, come forward into a plank. Lower yourself down. Let's take our arms back behind us, palms facing the ground, lift arms, legs, chest up. Breathe deeply here. Stimulate the center body, deep lymph in your core. Big breaths. Back up. I'm fine. Child's pose. Relax into that compression. Breathe in deeply. And the last standing pose we'll do before we come down and rest is eagle pose. So let's come up to stand. Now you can do this, especially if you feel like you need more rest. Take the balance out of it and put your backside against a wall or a piece of furniture. Okay, so we're going to stand on our right leg, bring your left leg over. Because our left leg is on top, our right arm is going to go on top. Now, if you're all over the place, stick your body against a piece of furniture or a wall, so you can really feel the compression of this pose. Squeeze your legs together, your groins. Squeeze your armpits, squeeze your elbows, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Big breaths. And then inhale and open up to a standing star. And then relax your arms down. Second side, put your butt against a wall if you need it. Cross right leg over left. Try not to do weird things with your hips. Keep your hips pointing straight. Now, if you feel unbalanced, I really suggest doing this against a wall so you can find the depth of the pose. Left arm over right. Squat down into a chair. Squeeze. Breathe deeply. Let the armpits flare open on the breath. Hug your collarbones. Lift your chest and then widen your collarbones. Squeeze your legs. Squeeze your arms. Open your feet up wide. Open your hands up wide. And then open your whole body wide. Take a big breath into a standing star. And then exhale and relax. Big breath in. Melt here. Stretch your calves, stretch your hamstrings. And we're going to come down to the ground. Come to be on your back. Have 2 blocks handy. We're going to do a couple bridge poses with no blocks, and then we're going to support the pose. Feet are hip width apart. We're going to inhale, lift the pelvis, arms come up overhead, and then exhale and lower the pelvis and the arms down. Twice more like that. Inhale, pelvis up, arms overhead. Exhale, pelvis down, arms down to your sides. Ground your feet. Last time. Breathing well. Now, if you want to go high in this posture today, you can have 2 blocks underneath you across your sacrum. If you want to do, a middle height, instead of just taking 1 block across the sacrum, experiment. Maybe 2 blocks next to each other under the sacrum, or 2 blocks if they're next to each other long under the sacrum. Or if you like to go low, 1 block across the sacrum underneath you. So find the pathway that works for your body today. Experiment. We haven't done a whole lot of back bends, just a little bit. So feel into this. Now, the most important thing I want you to think about is how your collarbones feel right now. So remember, all that lymph has to drain back toward your collarbones. So let's find that open sternum, open collarbones, they're broad, and then that little bit of compression around the neck. So it's not pushing the back of the neck into the ground, but we have that Jalandhara Bandha, that throat bind. So let's allow that compression, just like we've opened and closed the backs of the knees and the hips. Now we get to just kind of seal a little bit of the throat, but still keeping wide in the collarbone. Notice your breath. Where is it going? Bring it deeply in the body. All right, now, depending on your height, you might need to change your height. You might need a different height for this. We're going to bring our knees toward our chest. You might need to adjust not only the height of the block, but a little bit of the placement of the block as well. And then we're going to bring our legs straight up in the air. Now, a lot of times we do this pose just for a moment at the end of class, and it feels really good, but we're going to stay here for a little bit longer than that. So see if you, and typically this pose is done against a wall, which of course you can go do right now. If you'd rather this be against the wall, let's do this against a wall. Okay, but if you're
Just wanting to be here for a little bit of time. This is a great way of doing the pose for just a short while. When the pelvis is a little bit above the heart and the legs are a little bit above the pelvis, we have this beautiful cascade water flowing effect of getting all of that lymph to drain back toward the ducts at your collarbones. Full breaths here. And you can experiment. Sometimes it feels nice to take your legs wider apart or a little bit wider apart, or you can even, take like Baddha Konasana legs or bend your knees for a moment. You can pedal your legs while you're up here. There's so many ways that you can allow yourself to be comfortable in the new version. The most important thing you're doing is breathing. Be curious about the sensation changes that are happening. You might feel your legs getting lighter or colder. Breath. And bring our knees in toward our chest. Give yourself a hug. Drop the legs down, lift your hips up, get off the block. Feet on the ground. Let's windshield wiper your knees. And turn this into a bigger twist when you feel ready. So you can pick up the hips, scoot the hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. Enjoy the open chest. Turn your head. Full breath in and full breath out. Okay, come back to center. Scoot your hips the other way, knees up, and drop them over to the side. Turn your head. All right. Let's find our way into Shavasana. Now, nobody says it's required to be on your back for Shavasana. Maybe you want to be on your side and kind of let all the passive compression happen across your collarbones, through your hips. Maybe you'd rather be on your back so everything can open and your chest is broad for breathing. So just do what feels comfortable. What does your body intuitively want right now? Do you want to be in a ball on your side? Do you want to have your legs up on a chair? Do you want to be flat on your back? Any of the variations you know. And once you're settled in your posture, make sure you're supported in any way that you need. Make sure that you're warm. So let's remember the lymph loves warmth. So a blanket over you can make a world of difference in your ability to deeply rest the body and nourish the lymph. Melt what you can. The limbs drop down. breaths. Before you move, imagine that your breath is traveling through your whole body. Maybe start a little bit of movement with your ankles or toes, fingers. Eventually finding any movement that supports. To your side, slowly, gently begin to bring yourself upright. Notice how you feel, what your practice offers you in the state of presence in your body. Coming home to yourself. Place the hands together. And offer your energy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a blessed day. Feel good.